بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إقرارا به وتوحيدا، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله تسليما مزيدا. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone to our first class number 1 of Arabic 205, the Arabic analysis and tafsir of the Qisar Mufassal, part 1. And in this course, inshallah ta'ala, we'd like to begin from the chapters Zalzala up until Masad. And alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, Allah has granted us tawfiq to initiate this course, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to place barakah in it, to make us all from the mukhlisin, to make us all from the mujtahideen, to make us all from among those who work and strive for His sake, and to accept it from us all. Ameen. Today's class, inshallah ta'ala, we'd like to begin with Surah al-Masad and move our way backwards. We move backwards up until Surah al-Zalzala. And before us is a overview of today's lesson, inshallah ta'ala, some of the things that we'll cover. First, we'll begin with the background to the chapter. Then after speaking about the background, we'll go into the vocabulary and word choice. And then we'll speak about some of the grammar rules found in the chapter. And then move on to the rhetoric or balagha found in this chapter. And throughout the whole entire explanation of the ayat and the points that we're going to point out, we're going to get to tafsir as well. We're going to sprinkle in the tafsir with every point, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so that you get the tafsir benefit along with the Arabic analysis, okay? And then at the end, inshallah ta'ala, will provide a general meaning of the chapter. Jazakumullah khairah. So let's begin with the background. Surah al-Masad. Surah al-Masad is also known as Surah Tabbat. Why is it called Surah Tabbat? Does anyone know? It's the first word in the chapter, right? And there are many chapters in the Quran where the first word is usually given to the name of the chapter, okay? There's other chapters of the Quran where you'll find that the word is not in the beginning of the chapter, but it's later on in the chapter, maybe in the middle of the chapter, maybe even at the end of the chapter, right? There's other chapters where it's given the name of prophets, like Surah Ibrahim, Surah Hud, etc., right? Surah Yunus, Surah Yusuf, etc. So the reason why this chapter is also known as Surah Tabbat is because it's the first word in the chapter. This chapter is also known as Surah Abi Lahab. Abi Lahab. And why is it given the name Abi Lahab? What's the purpose of it? Other than it's mentioned in the chapter. The chapter was revealed about Abu Lahab. Sah? So because it was revealed about Abu Lahab, it is called or known as Abu Lahab as well. This chapter is considered to be a Mekki chapter. And if you've taken our Arabic 204 course, we mentioned what we intended and what we mean by Mekki chapter. Okay, when we say Mekki Madani. Who can remind me what is meant by the word or phrase Mekki chapter? Someone said after Hijrah. Good. Someone said before Hijrah. Excellent. So whenever you hear the word Mekki chapter, then what's intended is that chapter was revealed before the Hijrah al-Kubra, yani from the Hijrah from Mecca to Medina. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, before they traveled towards Medina, which was known as Yathrib. Okay? Those chapters revealed before that time is considered to be Mekki. All right? And inshallah ta'ala, we're gonna have a short mini course on Usul al-Tafsir soon. And in that course, we'll mention some of the characteristics of Mecca chapters and some of the characteristics of Medini chapters. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. طيب. As for those chapters that were revealed after the Hijrah, then they are called Medini chapters. Okay, Medini. All right. طيب. As for the placement of this chapter in the Mus'haf, we know that this chapter falls in between the chapters of Surah Al-Nasr and Surah Al-Ikhlas. Okay, this chapter is placed after Surah Al-Nasr in the Mus'haf. Okay, and we know that the placement of the surah, the chapters of the Quran, is something which is known as tawqifi. Tawqifi, meaning that although it was done by the Sahaba, yani this placement was done by the Sahaba, it's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to happen. Okay, so this is by the qadr of Allah. All right, this placement was by the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the chapters, how it is, we have it today, is by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Although, because He willed it to happen, correct? Although it was the Sahaba who were the actual ones to place these chapters where they are today. All right. In Surah Al-Nasr, the chapter before Surah Al-Masad, Allah Azza wa Jalla speaks about witnessing His aid and help towards the Muslims. Right? إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ, their growth in waves. وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. You see people entering into Islam in droves and waves. Okay? And what to do as a result of seeking this success or seeing this success. What should you do when you see Islam is spread? فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ. Increase and glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thanking Him, seeking His forgiveness. All of this will lead to the tremendous success. Fawzun Azim, which is Jannah. Which is Jannah. All right? So this is the basic synopsis of Surah Al-Nasr. طيب. The chapter after Surah Al-Nasr is the chapter we're studying today, is Surah Al-Masad. In this chapter, we see the effects of two people who decided to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But not only that, they went a step further. It's one thing to not accept Islam, to deny Islam, but to take a step further by verbally and physically harming the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, right? They didn't just stop at denying Islam. Rather, they took a further step and tried to harm Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions and the believers. Okay? Their abode, their recompense, their reward for their actions will be the blazing fire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. So Surah Al-Nasr, we see some of the attributes of the believers when they see Islam is spread. They're happy, they praise Allah Azza wa Jalla, they glorify Him, and as a result, they'll be entering into paradise. Sah? In this chapter, we see an example of two people who did the opposite. They rejected Islam and they tried to harm Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, and their abode is the hellfire. طيب. So that's in regards to the placement of this chapter in the Mus'haf. Let's now move on to the Sabab Nuzul, the reason for revelation. Okay? طيب. The Sabab Nuzul of this chapter has been mentioned in Sahih Bukhari and as well as Sahih Muslim, on the authority of Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. It mentions that after a few years of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam inviting his people to Islam secretly, right? Because we know the stages of da'wah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It began first, he received revelation. Then he began calling the people secretly, right, in Mecca for a couple of years. Then there came a point in time where Allah Azza wa Jalla, He wanted the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to begin calling his people openly. Okay? And this call, this da'wah openly, jahriya, this da'wah jahriya, it began with the revelation of this verse in Surah Al-Shu'ara of the poets, verse number 214, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ al-aqrabin, and warn O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, your closest kindred. Okay, with this verse, after the revelation of this verse right here, that's when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he began to call his people openly. All right, and of course that led to a lot of problems because the Quraysh, they didn't really have an issue. Most of them, not all, not everyone, but most of them, especially the heads, they didn't have an issue with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam calling secretly because they didn't see any effect of that da'wah have any effect with their people nor their economy, right? Because at that time, you know, Hajj, Muslim Hajj, the season of Hajj, where people from all over the world will come, right? And the Kaaba was filled with idols, okay? And people pay a lot of money. They brought a lot of money into Mecca, okay, due to the shirk, okay? And they made a lot of money via these idols, okay? And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his da'wah was calling towards leaving off these idols, destroying these idols, and worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And one of the reasons why they did not accept that da'wah, of course, because it was, you know, it was against what their forefathers worshipped, but as well as the economic hit that they will take, or they thought that they will take from worshipping Allah alone, right? Because most of their income came from these mushrikun coming from all over the world to perform Hajj and to worship these idols and pay money, tributes, etc. So this is one of the reasons why they did not accept Islam, okay? Because of money. طيب. So when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when this ayah was revealed to him, famous story in which he went up to Mount Safa. Okay, he climbed up Mount Safa. You know Safa and Marwa. After you do the tawaf, you go to Safa and Marwa. He climbed on the Mount Safa, and he said to these people, and he yelled out, "Ya Sabaha, Ya Sabaha." Okay, and Ya Sabaha is basically a war cry, in which people do. They climb the highest point of their town, and they yell out Ya Sabaha to warn their people that there's an invading army coming, trying to kill them and try to steal and try to kill them. Okay, so he made the statement. Everyone heard it, and they were wondering what was going on. So they all gathered around Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam around Mount Safa. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to them, "أرأيتم لو أخبرتكم أن خيرا تخرج بسفح هذا الجبل أنتم مصدقي?" Do you all see, or do you all think that if I were to inform you that there was horsemen emerging out of the foot of this jabal, of this mountain, would you all believe me? If I were to inform you of that, would you all believe me? They said, "ما جربنا عليك كذبا." We haven't ever ascribed to you as being a liar. Rather, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the opposite. He was al-Amin, the most trustworthy, right? He was respected amongst Quraysh, all right? He was known as someone who never committed, who indulged in wrong actions or actions which were dispraiseworthy, right? He didn't possess attributes which would lower his status or bring down his character, right? He was known as someone who was pious, and he had high status among Quraysh at that time. So they never known him to be a liar. Okay? So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to them, فَإِنِّي نَذِيرٌ لَكُمْ بَيْنَ يَدَيْ عَذَابٍ شَدِيدٍ. Indeed, I am a warner to you all of a severe punishment. Of a severe punishment. طيب. When the people heard this, Abu Lahab, he said, تَبًّا لَكْ سَائِرَ الْأَيَّامِ أَلِهَذَا جَمَعْتَنَا. May the rest of your days be perished. He says, may the rest of your days be perished. Did you gather us for this? SubhanAllah bihamdi. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, he revealed after the statement of Abu Lahab, Tabbat yada abi lahabi wa tab. May Abu Lahab's two hands be perished and destroyed. And this is the reason of revelation of this chapter from the Quran. طيب. Question. What type of revelation, we just mentioned the sabab nuzul, the reason for revelation. What type of chapter, or what type of chapter is this? What type of revelation is this considered to be? طيب. And this is, of course, for students who've taken our Arabic 204 course. This chapter is known as Sababi. Mumtaz. Now, what type of Sababi is this chapter? What type of Sababi is this chapter? Here are the notes for review really quickly. Basically, whenever we speak about, for those who haven't taken our Arabic 204 course, we'll give a quick review, that whenever we speak about reasons for revelation of ayat or surah, any chapters of the Quran, then we break them down into two categories. They're either going to be called ibtida'i, yani those chapters or surahs or yani verses that were not revealed for a specific reason. They're known as ibtida'i. And then we have the second category, which is known as sababi, yani those chapters and those verses that were revealed for a specific reason. Okay? Under sababi, we have three categories. We have the verse is revealed for a specific reason, either yani to respond or answer a question that was asked, right? There's some examples where there was a question asked to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah Azza wa Jalla revealed ayat to answer those questions. Like here we have an example from Surah Al-Baqarah, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ. They ask you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the new moons. Allah Azza wa Jalla provides the answer. Okay? The second type are, or the reason for the revelation is a clarification of an event that occurred. Okay? Like, for example, in the Battle of Tabuk, there were a group of people who were among the Sahaba. They were with the Sahaba. Okay? And they said jokingly, right, trying to make fun of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba. They said about them, we have not seen the likes of these reciters of ours, the most untruthful tongues, the greediest stomachs, the most cowardly in the face of the enemy, etc., etc., etc. Right? They're making fun of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions behind their back, right? Behind their backs. So Allah Azza wa Jalla revealed the ayah in Surah Tawbah, وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ لَيَقُولُنَّ إِنَّمَا كُنَّا نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ. If you were to ask them, they will surely say, we were only conversing and playing. Yani we were only jesting, yani joking around. Okay? قُلْ أَبِاللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. Say, is it Allah and His verses and His messenger that you were mocking? Okay? So this is an example of ayat being revealed in order to clarify an event to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then the third type are basically ayat that were revealed as rulings for an action that occurred, like the statement of the zihar, right? The statement of one saying that, or saying to their wife that they're like their mother's back in Surah Al-Mujadala, Surah Al-Mujadala or Mujadila. قَدْ سَمِعَ اللَّهُ قَوْلَ الَّتِي تُجَادِلُكَ فِي زَوْجِهَا وَتَشْتَكِي إِلَى اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ يَسْمَعُ إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ. All right, this verse was revealed in order to clarify the ruling of qawl al-zihar. Okay, so these are the three types of sababiyya when it comes to ayat and surah. Now, returning back to our sabab nuzul, we just said that this chapter has a reason of revelation. So this chapter will be known as sababi. طيب? Which of the three does this chapter fall under? Yani, is it an answer or response to a question that was asked? Is it a clarification of an event that occurred? Or is it a ruling for an action that occurred? Good, Mumtaz. Someone said it is a clarification of an event that occurred. Okay, this is the reason for revelation. This is the type that it will fall under. Okay? Mumtaz. Moving on. This chapter, if you were to try to explain to someone in a sentence or two, like what is the topic? What is the the main topic of this chapter, then basically you would say that this chapter is the recompense or punishment of two disbelievers, Abu Lahab and their wife, for their disbelief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their transgressions against the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions. Okay, who is Abu Lahab and who is his wife? Abu Lahab is actually a kunya, and a kunya is basically whenever you add the or Abu in front of a person's it's a kunya, and you attach something along with it. So most of the time, you would have your child's name attached to your kunya. So you'll be known as Abu Abdullahi, okay, or Salama, okay, Salama being your daughter, Abdullah being your son. This is how a kunya is usually used. However, kuna are used as well to denote something a person does a lot, okay? Like, for example, maybe a person likes Shai, tea. He'll be known as Abu Shai. Or maybe a person likes qahwa. He likes to drink qahwa. He drinks qahwa a lot. Coffee. Abu al-Qahwa, مثلا. Okay? From the Sahaba, Abu Huraira. Did Abdurrahman bin Sakhr, Abu Huraira, did he have Huraira with him? I mean, did he have a son or a daughter named Huraira? Did he have a daughter named Huraira? Huraira meaning small kitten? No, right? He didn't have a daughter named Huraira. So then why is he given that name or that kunya Abu Huraira? He's given that kunya because he used to have a lot of kittens with him. Okay, as it said. He used to have a lot of kittens with him. So because of that, he was given the kunya Abu Huraira. All right? Also, it could be used for, a certain attribute. If a person is, Kareem, he's generous. Abu Kareem, if a person is, etc. If a person is beautiful, Abu Jamil, Jamil, as we will see here. So Abu Lahab is a kunya. The reason why he was given the kunya Abu Lahab means basically, and we'll go into it inshallah ta'ala when we go into the vocabulary, is basically the blaze that you see from a fire, okay? That reddish color that you see from the fire, okay? And Abu Lahab, his skin had the same color as that fire. He had a reddish hue on his cheeks. So because of that, he was known as Abu Lahab, okay? Because the color of his skin, basically. His real name was actually Abdul Uzza. His father being Abdul Muttalib, his grandfather being Hashim, and his great-grandfather being what? Who? Abdul Manaf. طيب. This lineage right here seems very familiar. Do we know anyone else with a similar lineage? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who knows Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's lineage? We have, what's his name? Prophet Muhammad, son of who? What's his father name? Abdullah, son of Abdul Muttalib, son of Hashim, son of Abd Manaf, to the end of the lineage up until Ismail alayhi salam. All right. طيب. So we see from this lineage that Abdullah, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam's father, who was he a Muslim? Abdullah, was he a Muslim? No. What do you mean no? His name is Abdullah. How can someone named Abdullah not be a Muslim? This is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's father. Are you saying that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's father wasn't a Muslim and that he's going to be in the hellfire? Subhanallah bihamdi. Okay, in reality, he was a non-Muslim. طيب. He died before Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was born, and he was a mushrik. He was a polytheist. He died upon yani, polytheism. Okay, and this is the proof to show that, subhanAllah, even Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's father, he died as a non-Muslim. SubhanAllah. This is Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the best of creation, showing that your lineage doesn't matter what type of relationship you have with who. It doesn't matter. If you don't believe in Allah and you don't practice Islam and you don't constantly seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness, then you're not guaranteed paradise. Nobody's guaranteed paradise except for who Allah has singled out and His Messenger ﷺ has singled out. That's it. All right? Anyone else, khalas, you could be in the fire, you could be in Jannah. It's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, up to His guidance, His mercy. All right? So Abdullah, he died as a non-Muslim. And it says here, son of Abdul Muttalib. We see that Abu Lahab then is Abdullah's brother, correct? Abu Lahab is Abdullah's brother. And we know that Abdullah has 4 brothers. Okay, one of them being Abu Lahab. Who are the other 3? Brothers of Abdullah, meaning the uncles of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is something very important that we should learn, is that, remember, the Quran was revealed during the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so when you study Quran, you're not just only studying Quran, that's it. Rather, you're studying the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life that you're studying as well. Okay, so there's certain things you have to know. These ayats were revealed in different events of his life. So you have to know certain things, right? So who are the other 3 uncles of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Okay, we have Mumtaz. We have Hamza. We have who else? Al-Abbas. And we have who? Abu Talib. Sah? Good. Abu Lahab, we know he's in the fire, right? May Allah protect us all from that. Abu Talib and Abu Lahab was someone who actually harmed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Abu Talib, he's in the fire. However, why is he in the fire? He's in the fire because he did not accept La ilaha illallah on his deathbed. Rather, he decided to follow the gods of his forefathers, right? But Abu Talib was someone who protected Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Quraysh when he was alive, right? He was someone who protected him. So as a result, and in the hellfire, he will receive the least amount of punishment from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Okay? And that punishment is that he'll have na'layni min an-nar. He'll have 2 foot garments or slippers made from the fire, and it will burn it'll be so hot that his brains will boil. And that's the least punishment in the fire. May Allah protect us all. Subhanallah bihamdi. Okay? Hamza and Al-Abbas both are mu'minan. They are 2 uncles who believed in the risala of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and died upon that. So because of that, they are from among the companions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hamza, does Hamza have a different, does he have a laqab? Is he known by something? Is there another name that he has? Good. He's not Saifullah. Close. Asadullah. Mumtaz. Who's Saifullah? Good. He's a lion. Asadullah. Who is Saifullah? Khalid bin Walid. Mumtaz. And who was Khalid bin Walid? What is the relationship? Who was his father? Khalid bin Walid. And we'll study this inshallah ta'ala when we get to Surah al-Mudaththir. Who is Khalid bin Walid? His father is Walid bin Mughira. And Walid bin Mughira, those ayat revealed in Surah Al-Mudaththir speak about Walid bin Mughira. But Khalid bin Walid is also the cousin of Umar bin Khattab, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Subhanallah. Right? And is mentioned when you read the biography of Khalid bin Walid that when he was small, he actually used to wrestle. You know, they're young men, so they used to wrestle. And he actually, one day, if I recall correctly, he picked up Umar and he slammed him and he broke Umar's arm when they were small. It's mentioned in his biography, inshallah ta'ala. Right, subhanAllah. So he broke Umar's arm. SubhanAllah. And that's Umar. Yani, we know who Al-Faruq is. Radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And he picked him up and slammed it and broke his arm. He was a bad man. Radiallahu ta'ala anhum. Jami'an. Ameen. Okay. All right. But going back to this, Hamza is the Asadullah. Wa Asadu Rasulihi as well. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As mentioned, Imam Bukhari collects a narration speaking about that. And he also died in Uhud, the Battle of Uhud, right? One of the major battles of Islam. He died in the Battle of Uhud. And for that reason, right, they say that Hamza has a higher status than Abbas. Okay, we know the companions, they're on different levels, right? We know that the Muhajirun, those who migrated from Mecca to Medina, they're on a higher status than the Ansar, correct? And then we know the Shuhada of Uhud are a higher status of other Sahaba. All right. So the Sahaba, they have different levels, correct? Does anyone know what year Uhud occurred in? Okay, Hamza, he died in the Battle of Uhud. He was a martyr. But when was Uhud? Close. Somebody said 3. Okay, mashallah. Somebody gave the exact date. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Someone said 5. Uhud, something very important, was in the 2nd year after Hijrah. The 2nd year after Hijrah. And Hamza and Abbas, they are 2 mu'mins. Hamza being on a higher status than Abbas because of him dying in Uhud as a martyr. All right? Mumtaz. So let's move on. And of course, Al-Abbas. Who is Al-Abbas's son? Abbas, he has a famous son. Good, Abdullah. Abdullah who? Ibn or bin Abbas. The one who was granted fiqh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's religion. The one who is from among the narrators of a hadith that have narrated the most hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The one who Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua for, saying, "Allimhu al-kitab," teach him the book, O Allah. Radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma wa anhum jami'an. All right. So that's the background. That's the background of the whole entire chapter, inshallah ta'ala. Let's move on to the vocabulary. Vocabulary, it's gonna be kind of short, inshallah ta'ala. Because we want to move into the meat of this class. And the chapter goes, first let's recite the chapter. Here it says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, Tabbat yada abi lahabi wa tab. The translation of the meaning of this verse or this surah as a whole, perish the 2 hands of Abu Lahab, an uncle of the Prophet, and perish he. His wealth and his children, etc., will not benefit him. He will be burnt in a fire of blazing flames, and his wife too, who carries wood, thorns of Sadan, which she used to put in the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or used to slander him. In her neck is a twisted rope of Masad, palm fiber. طيب. The first word we find in this chapter is the verb tabbat. Tabbat is actually tabba. Okay. تب يتب تبا من باب رد. يعني رد يرد ردا. Okay. Another conjugation you'll find of this verb is tabba yatibbu. Okay, instead of yatubbu, you'll find as well yatibbu. And the masdar for yatibbu is tababan. Okay, this is one that sticks out, but it also shares tabban as well. All right, and the meaning of this verb is to be destroyed, perish, annihilated. That's the meaning of this verb. The next word we find yada. We'll explain that nahu section. Abi lahab, we explained that this is the kunya. What tab? Once again, tab is the same verb as the first word in the verse. ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. The next word kasab, meaning children. In this verse, it includes everything which he earns that denotes his nobility and status. So here it can be children, but Ibn Uthaymin rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions that it can have a general meaning as well. And the general meaning will include everything which he earns, meaning Abu Lahab, that would denote his nobility and status. So it could be his wealth, it could be his children, it could be his lineage, anything that will denote these two things, his nobility and status. Okay, they're included in وَمَا كَسَبْ. And all of these things will not avail him in the least. Okay, none of them will avail him or save him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's punishment. The next word we have, سَيَصْلَى نَارًا ذَاتَ لَهَبٍ. Lahab meaning flame or blaze. Okay. Next word, وَامْرَأَتُهُ. Let's move this up. Naam. وَامْرَأَتُهُ meaning his wife. Okay. In the Arabic language, you'll find that the Arabs, they would use, there's different words they will use to denote the meaning of wife. Okay. From them, you will hear mar'atun. From them, you will hear imra'atun as it's found in this verse. وَامْرَأَتُهُ yani imra'atuhu. Wa imra'atuhu. Okay. Another word to denote a person's wife is zawj and zawjatun. Both of them are correct. If a person refers to their wife as zawj in the Arabic language with the Arab, this is correct. Okay. It's not a mistake. It doesn't have to have the ta marbuta to mean feminine. Okay. Zawj can be used both ways. All right. Also zawja, if you want to add ta marbuta, okay, that's fine as well. Another word is hannatun, can be used to refer to one's wife. Tallatun, sha'atun, izar. Okay, izar meaning the yani pants. Okay. Fadlati, they use all these words to denote their wife, to refer to their wives. Fadlati. All right. Harfi. All right, as mentioned in the ayah, that your spouses are harf. طيب. The next word we have here is hammalatun. Hammalatun, if you notice, is considered to be on the scale of sighatul mubalagha. Sighatul mubalagha. And we know sighatul mubalagha is used to emphasize the meaning or emphasize the attribute or emphasize the word. Okay? Hammalatun is on the highest scale in which a word, a noun, can be emphasized. Okay? Below that, you have the word hammal without the ta al-mubalagha. Okay? Hammal. And below that is the actual word, the normal word, which is hamlun. Hamlun means to be a carrier. Okay? Hammal is an emphasized meaning of carrier, one who does it a lot. If you say hammalatun, then khalas, that's the most emphasized way in which you can express someone being a carrier. Okay? This is similar to in the Arabic language, words which everyone should be familiar with. The word, mathalan, ilmun. What does ilm mean? It means knowledge, right? Someone who has ilm is considered to be an alim, right? Someone, a scholar, one who's knowledgeable. Okay? If you want to emphasize alim, you can say alam. You can say alam. to refer to an alim, if you want to provide a higher meaning, right? A more emphasized meaning. And if you want to use the highest, the most emphasized way in which you can describe someone being a scholar, you would say what? Allamatun with the ta mubalagha. Okay? And that would denote the highest form of someone being a scholar or scholarship. It's highest form of denoting scholarship. Allama. Okay? So same thing is going on over here. Hammala, yani the highest form of someone being a carrier. Carrier of what? Hatab, firewood. Hatab is a singular. And the jim here basically symbolizes the jama' of the word, the plural of the word, which is ahtab. Ahtab. Okay? Hatab, ahtab. And whenever you learn a noun, you have to learn the jama'. Learn the singular, the mufrad, and learn the jama' one time in one go. Okay? The next word we find in this chapter is the word jeed. Jeed, fi jidiha, fi jidiha. The plural for jeed is ajyad, as well as juyud. Both of them are considered to be the plural for jeed. And the meaning of jeed is a neck. Okay? And the last word we find here is masad. Masad, yani, it refers to the palm fiber that is firmly entwined and twisted. Okay? A palm fiber which is firmly entwined and twisted. All right? Any questions? That's the vocabulary. Let's move on to the grammar, inshallah ta'ala. And then after the grammar portion, we'll take a quick break before beginning the balagha session. As we always say, the balagha session requires the most thinking, okay, because that's when we go into the deeper meanings of the Quran, deeper meanings of the ayat. So we'd like to take a quick break after Nahwu or Sarf section to refresh our minds, inshallah ta'ala, okay? So let's go over the balagha portion. The grammar portion, Nahwu portion. The first rule I want to point out is pertaining to the first couple words in the first ayah. The break will be probably 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay? Here Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Tabbat yada abi lahab wa tab. The words yada abi lahab. Here it says, perish the two hands of Abu Lahab. Okay? The Arabic, it says yada abi lahab. But if you learn any basic Arabic class, you'll know that what? How do you say two hands? Yadani, صح? So it should be Yadani Abi Laha Bin, correct? However, there's a rule in the Arabic language that whenever yani muthanna or even jam' mudhakkar salim comes in the state of mudaf, right? Look at the translation. Perish two hands of Abu Lahab. It's in the state of mudaf. Then what happens is that the noon is omitted. And you just say Yada Abi Lahabin. Okay? So the noon is omitted because it's mudaf. Hadfu noon because it is mudaf. Okay? The noon is omitted, dropped. So that's the first rule we want to point out. The second rule we want to point out is pertaining to the word yasla in green. Yasla. We see that there's a scene here, correct? There's a scene. Okay? Whenever you find that there's a scene or a sofa, not like the sofa you sit on, but sofa, in front of a present tense verb, then it takes a future meaning. Okay, it takes a future meaning. And this is known in the Arabic language as a tanfis. Okay, you refer to scene and sofa as tanfis. Okay? And what's the purpose of scene and sofa in the Quran? Whenever you see scene and sofa in the Quran, then it has a specific meaning. Okay, it doesn't just mean future and that's it. Khalas, la. Rather, it has an additional meaning, which is yufidul haqiqata wal qurb. That it denotes the reality of the affair I mean that it's gonna happen. There's no doubt that in which is that whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about is going to happen. There's no doubt in it. And also qurb, that it's going to happen soon. Okay? These are the two meanings that you benefit whenever you see Allah Azza wa Jalla using seen or sawfa in the Quran. So applying this rule to the verse, sayasla naran dhata lahab, he will be burnt in a fire of blazing flames. Then the meaning here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or rather Abu Lahab, or rather Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will burn Abu Lahab in the burning fire. And it's something that will happen. There's no doubt, right? It will surely happen. And it's something that will occur soon. Okay? And in reality, right? In reality, because the dunya is something very short, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says something is going to occur soon, it may seem long to us, but in reality, when you compare it to the hereafter and time in general, it's something that is qareeb. Okay, something that's near, right? So this is what meant by qurb. It's something that's going to occur soon. It's very close to occurring. And if you think about it, subhanAllah, this whole chapter was revealed in Mecca, right? It was revealed before the Hijrah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in Mecca. Abu Lahab, he heard this ayah. He heard these verses being recited about him, that he's going to enter the fire, right? If he wanted to prove Islam wrong or try to prove Islam wrong, what would he have done at that moment? If he wanted to contradict the Quran, he would have just accepted Islam, correct? If he just said La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, khalas, he could have showed that Islam is, it's not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because there's a mistake, there's a contradiction here, right? However, because he did not even accept Islam, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not will it, this is the evidence to show that the Quran is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? This is evidence to show that this is from Allah Azza wa Jalla, and that guidance is by His hands. It's whoever Allah wants to guide will be guided, and whoever Allah chooses to misguide, then they'll be misguided. Okay? So although Abu Lahab hated Islam, he tried to harm the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the believers as much as possible. He could not have proven the Quran as incorrect by simply just saying La ilaha illallah. He was prevented from doing so. Why? Because the Creator prevented him from doing so, showing that the Quran is from Allah alone. So those are two rules, grammar rules in this chapter. The third grammar rule we want to point out is hammalat al-hatab. And the rule here is basically, you'll find in different qira'at that the word hammalata is sometimes, in some qira'at, it'll be recited with a fatha, but it's also permissible to recite it with a dhamma as well. Okay, both of them are permissible. Okay, and if it's marfu', okay, if we put a marfu' sign on it, meaning dhamma here, on the ta, and we say hammalatul hatabi, then the meaning of these words is that hammalatul hatab will be a description for wamra'atuhu. Okay, it's a description. It's describing his wife. Okay, that she is hammalatul hatab. But if we recite it as it is found here in this verse, as mansub, then here it describes her condition, her hal, her status. Okay, so if it's marfu', it provides a description of his wife. But if it is mansub, you recite with a fatha, then it will describe her condition, her hal. You understand the difference? And both of them are permissible in recitation. However, with that being said, whenever, if you were to lead salah or recite this chapter in front of a group of people, you should recite it with a fatha instead of mansub. Why? Because many people, they don't know that both ways are permissible. So you shouldn't confuse the people, confuse them by reciting it as marfu' bi dhamma. Okay? But if you're in a regular class or in a class setting where you're able to teach or mention something to someone, then yeah, you can mention is permissible both ways to recite with a fatha or a dhamma. But of course, you have to use hikmah, right? If it's mansub, it's a description of the imra'ah. If it's marfu', it's a description of the imra'ah. If it's mansub, then it describes her condition, her hal, and her state. Her state. Okay? And this is something that Ibn Uthaymin rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions this opinion as well, this third opinion. He says that it can also be mansub, yani bil fatha, in order to describe her as being dispraiseworthy, yani giving her a dispraiseworthy status. Yani, and it's a principle that whenever a description is mentioned but the mawsuf is omitted. So the sifa is mentioned but the mawsuf is omitted. The na'at is mentioned but the man'ut is omitted. Then the word can be a description in the state of mansub. Then it could be in the state of mansub, and essentially, like in this example, it will say, "Adhummu hammalat al-hatab." That I dispraise, like hammalat al-hatab is dispraiseworthy. Like I deem this hammalat al-hatab as being dispraiseworthy. Ana. Here, if you take this third opinion, then what it's saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing her as being hammalat al-hatab. Okay? With the meaning of dispraiseworthy, yani just praising her. Okay? So these are three interpretations as to how to recite hammalat al-hatab and the meanings that come with each different recital. Okay? One is a description. Two, it's a hal. Okay? Three, yani showing the dispraiseworthy, yani her being dispraiseworthy. Okay? Describing her as being dispraiseworthy. Okay. Someone asked, why is Mawsuf omitted? Mawsuf is imra'ah. Okay, let's erase all this. طيب. We know Mawsuf sifa, they have to match in their i'rab, correct? Mawsuf sifa, they have to match in their i'rab. If Mawsuf is marfu', sifa has to be marfu'. If Mawsuf is mansub, then sifa has to be mansub. Okay? So, can imra'a be the mawsuf for hammalatal? If hammalatal hatab is mansub? La. Imra'atuhu is not considered to be mawsuf for hammalatal. Why? Because imra'a is marfu' and hammalata is mansub. Okay? So imra'a cannot be this imra'a that we see here in this ayah is not the mawsuf for hammalatal hatab. Okay? So therefore, under this third opinion, this is sifa. Okay, this is description. But where is the mawsuf? If hammalat al-hatab is sifa, where is the mawsuf? We know that it cannot be this imra'atuhu. Why? Because they have different i'rab. They have a different i'rab. They don't match. Okay, so where's the mawsuf? The mawsuf here, they say, under this third opinion, the mawsuf is omitted. It's deleted. It's not mentioned. Okay? You guys with me so far? You guys with me so far? Okay. طيب. So, it's a principle that whenever the description is mentioned, the sifa, this right here, the sifa is mentioned. But the mawsuf is omitted, right? The mawsuf, there's no mawsuf. Where's the mawsuf? We don't see it. It's gone, right? We don't see it. I mean, perhaps it's taqdeer, but we don't see it. We don't clearly see it. Then there's a certain thing that we can do. Okay, there's a rule that can be applied in nahu. Okay, and what is that rule? The rule is that the description enters into the state of mansub. Okay, this is the first rule. And number two, the second rule is that the intended meaning is that the word dispraiseworthy, and something being madhmum, yani adhammu, right, is applied to that attribute. Yani someone describing that attribute as being this praiseworthy is applied to that attribute, okay? Yani adhummu, and then you mention the sifa. Because the mawsuf is not mentioned, you can say adhummu hammalat al-hatab, okay? You guys see that? And this can only occur if the mawsuf is omitted. If the mawsuf is omitted, this is the only instance where you can apply this grammar rule. Okay, but if the mawsuf is mentioned, then khalas, you don't even enter into adhummu. You don't mention that sifa is just praiseworthy. Okay. طيب. All right, the last rule we want to go over, inshallah ta'ala, is pertaining to fi jidiha. Fi jidiha hablun. Hablun. Now, let's bring this down first. Taz. All right, when we look at the i'rab of this part of the sentence, right? And min masad. But let's take a look at fi jidiha. Where is the mubtada and where is the khabar? Okay, we know it's a jumla ismiya, صح? Where is the mubtada and where is the khabar? The mubtada is hablun, mumtaz. Subject is hablun. The khabar is what? Fi jidiha. What type of khabar is this for the students who are taking Arabic 310? What type of khabar is fi jidiha? Is it jumla ismiya, is it mufrad? Is it jumla ismiya, jumla fi'liya? Or is it something else? Jar majrur, which is known as shibl jumla, mumtaz. Shibl jumla, jar majrur, mumtaz. Okay? طيب. So this is how the sentence should look normally, correct? Hablun fi jidiha. But in the ayah, it doesn't appear like this, right? The subject is not mentioned first. Okay? Rather, the subject is mentioned after the predicate, after the khabar. Okay? So it looks like this. Fi jidiha hablun. So fi jidiha is considered to be khabarun muqaddam, and hablun is mubtada muakhar. Okay? And who can tell us the benefit? The benefit of delaying the mubtada and bringing the khabar forth, yani bringing it forward. What is the benefit of that? At-tawkid, to provide emphasis. So basically what's saying here in the ayah, fi jidiha hablun min masad, is providing emphasis that in her neck is a twisted rope of masad, subhanallah bihamdi, providing emphasis in the statement. Okay, the taqdeem al-khabar ala al-mubtada yufidu at-tawkid. Okay, yufidu at-tawkid. There's emphasis within the statement that you don't get in the translation, subhanallah bihamdi, which is another reason why a person should strive in learning Arabic language. Because in reality, when you read the translation of the meanings of the Quran, you can never, ever, ever, ever get the entire meaning of the Arabic. SubhanAllah bihamd. Because there's so many things happening in the Quran, it's impossible to translate sometimes. It's impossible to add all of those things in translations to a point where the translation will flow and make sense. Understand? But if you read the Arabic, subhanAllah bihamd, you just see like how many different benefits are within that one ayah, right? So this should be encouragement. This should be encouragement for everyone to start learning Arabic, inshallah ta'ala. This is the i'rab of the chapter. This is the surah. Nothing special. We basically explain everything which may have caused ishkal or ghumud. And for people who watch this video on YouTube, inshallah, you can pause it and you can analyze the i'rab on your own time. But alhamdulillah, we've completed an hour. So right now we're going to take a break, a 15-minute break, maybe even a 10-minute break. Let's take a let's take a 10-minute break. We come back 11:10, inshallah ta'ala, for the next session. I'm going to end this meeting room, and I'm going to post a new link for people to join, inshallah ta'ala, the second session. Any questions? We'll take it now. Okay, difference between seen and sofa. Seen is for something that is near, yani future but near, and sofa is for something that is far. That's a general difference between seen and sofa. Seen is for something that is near, that will happen soon, will, and sofa is for something far. The lesson will end. The next session will probably be like 45 minutes. So, yeah. Last one is the emphasize. Okay. Arabic tafsir, there are many. There are many Arabic tafsir. You can't go wrong Ibn Kathir, of course. That's the Asl Usul, Ibn Kathir. But you have to know how to read Ibn Kathir. Imam Sa'di, to get a general meaning. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, Abu Ja'far Muhammad Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, tafsir as well, but it has a lot of marwiyat. It's not really munasib mubtadi'. Just read Ibn Kathir, khalas. Suffice with that. Stick with that one tafsir. That's it. The other tafsir, you have to have certain tools in order to open those books, right? Because there are a lot of things which may not be correct, and as beginners, we're not equipped to differentiate between the right and the wrong. Okay, but Ibn Kathir, mashallah, tabarakallah, is from the best tafsir, for beginners. It's one of the best. That and Imam Sa'di as well. But even Imam Sa'di, subhanAllah, you have to know how to read it. When someone picks up Imam Sa'di's tafsir, they think it's easy. Like, okay, he just mentions, a benefit here. But if you really study what he's saying, in his words, subhanAllah, are like qawa'id, yani principles, subhanAllah bihamdi, principles. And that could be derived from his one statement. But because the way he words it, a person who hasn't studied any science, they'll just read it like just regular words. But one who has the tools of usul al-fiqh and usul al-tafsir, etc., subhanAllah, they'll see the fiqh of this imam. May Allah have mercy on him. May Allah have mercy on him and accept it from him. Rahimahullah ta'ala. Okay? Okay, so we'll end the recording here. سبحانك اللهم أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم